My Divine. My name is Stefan Rybak. If you are looking at the news, if you are listening to the radio, if you are surfing the internet, and you are seeing a lot of things that don't seem to make sense, if you have come to the conclusion that this is a senseless world, welcome to the show. Find My Divine. One of our goals is to help you make sense in a senseless world. If you are seeing conflict and are looking for peace amongst that conflict, through the conflict, then we believe you have come to the right program. If you are seeing or experiencing a storm, if you are looking for calm amongst the storm, we welcome you to Find My Divine. This show is about intuitive guidance and direction. When the path ahead seems to be filled with roadblocks, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with each one of us on this show, on tonight's edition of Find My Divine. My name is Stefan Rybak. It is my honor, it is my gift, it is my tremendous blessing to be your host and your master of ceremonies this evening. It is also my pleasure and my gift and my honor to work with Peter Marks. Peter Marks has been a spiritual life coach for over 30 years, and it's hard to believe since it doesn't even look that old, but he's been a spiritual coach for over 30 years. He's done psychic readings for royalty, for Hollywood celebrities, and people from all walks of life. Peter provides insights on career, love life, family issues, personal issues, relationship issues, business and career issues. And Peter is known for his uncanny accuracy. He is a deeply spiritual man, and Peter believes that faith is a very powerful force that can shape lives and shape society and shape the world in very, very positive ways. We adore Peter. His clients adore him as well for his warm and friendly personality, his very unique approach, his positive perspective, and the positive energy that Peter puts forth at every waking moment. Good evening, my dear friend Peter. Welcome to Find My Divine. It is Wednesday, July 27th. How are you this evening, my friend?
I am wondrous, and I do have to mention something tonight that is very important to me, and I hope you're not going to get mad at me. But I wanted to say congratulations to your newest achievement in your life, and I'm so proud of you, and I want to let the public know what you have achieved. Do you want to tell the public?
I was recently certified as a life coach.
Yes. I think it's terrific.
Certified life coach. And Peter, I thank you for that unexpected but very welcome honor that you have given me and the blessing that you have given me. Personal achievement is something that has been very important to me for decades. And having come from a very toxic and turbulent upbringing with an abusive father and a mother who was an alcoholic, they weren't bad people, they weren't evil people, they were just very, very highly flawed people. And so growing up in that environment and siblings who had various issues pertaining to mental health or substance abuse, I always, from the very youngest age, wondered, is that all there is? This is it? And so we would go to, the ironic thing is that all these turbulent things would be happening at the house Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday morning we'd have to go to church. And then we'd get out of church and all of the weirdness and toxicity and turbulence would happen. So that 1 hour that we were in church was kind of my respite from all of the craziness that I was seeing go on in the house day after day. Literally from the moment that I woke up, people would be arguing and screaming, and they'd be in these full-blown yelling matches. And I would be sitting in church and I would hear the different readings. And some of the readings said, you know, God wants you to be happy. God loves you. God wants you to have a very prosperous life. God wants you to be peaceful. God wants you to be loving. God wants all these great things for you. And I'd get out of church and all this bad stuff would be happening. And so um, it set me on a course, a search for the divine within myself, a search for peace and love and truth and happiness. And all of that culminated very recently with certification after taking a course in being a certified life coach. So thank you for mentioning that, Peter. I'm deeply honored that you would bring that up.
Well, I also came up with another idea. I decided I'm going to take the role as the host and the life coach, and you can do the reading.
Well, I'm not as good of a psychic as you, Peter. People have told me that I'm psycho, but I'm definitely not psychic. And you are incredibly talented and very, very gifted. And we welcome everyone who is watching around the world. We have people waiting to come on for readings, and we will be with them momentarily. But tonight is a very special night because we have a very special guest by the name of Dana Colson. Dana Colson is a practicing consulting hypnotist and a Reiki certified practitioner. Dana teaches people how to tap into their own inner strengths and abilities, and she helps guide people toward a really terrific thing known as self-empowerment. Dana is also a registered nurse. So, Peter, if you or I have a medical problem on this show, perhaps Dana can be of assistance. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology. She is a certified aerobic instructor and a personal trainer. She's also a registered nurse. I said that already. Welcome, Dana, to Find My Divine. We are so excited about having you with us tonight.
Okay, I am excited as well. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody who's joining the program that's watching right now. Appreciate it. And congratulations to you, Stefan, on your life coach certification as well. That's
Thank you very much. I do want to ask you, Dana, as someone who helps people with self-empowerment, with all of the toxicity and turbulence and violence and craziness that seems to be permeating our world, how does someone begin the process of self-empowerment with all of that going on? Now, I know that's a big question that has many layers of an answer that probably can't be answered in a minute or less. But
right.
How do they begin that process? If somebody is in a position of turbulence, anxiety, frustration, where they are, how do they begin the process of self-empowerment?
Yeah. I know, and it's been tough the last couple of years. And a lot of people have suffered a lot of trauma, a lot of isolation, loss of jobs, all of that kind of stuff. The first thing that I would say is that although we cannot control everything around us, we can control our responses to the events around us. We can control how we perceive, how we think about the things around us. And it's very important, especially in times like we're going through right now, to start to look within and identify what is it that we can control. I've studied, it's a human given psychology, primal human needs that I work with. And we all have different needs that need to be met and fulfilled for us to feel happy and whole. So some of them are need for intimacy, particularly that we're talking about now is having a sense of control over our lives, a sense of status, challenge, creativity, all these kinds of things. And when some of those aspects are missing, it leaves holes or gaps in our life. And sometimes we want to try to fill those holes and gaps with perhaps destructive behaviors, unhealthy behaviors. This is where maybe some of the addictions would come in. People in the last couple of years have become much more isolated, for instance, and having connection with the community, social connections, intimacy, of course, is a huge primal need for all human beings. and a desirable one. And a lot of people have been stuck and isolated and lonely. And that loneliness can cause some of these issues like depression and anxiety and things like that. It's hard though, too, because you first have to be able to, as an individual, to identify perhaps what's missing, right? That's sort of the hard part, is we tend to might feel anxious, stressed, out of control, confused, don't know what to do. But without perhaps some external guidance is what I help provide, to help people kind of understand why they're feeling what they're feeling, as opposed to, for instance, I'm feeling depressed now, I'm going to go to the doctor and get an antidepressant because I think that's what I need, which might not be what you need prior to, say, the pandemic, for instance. You might have been not depressed, you might have been feeling pretty good. And it's sort of kind of honing in. I ask people questions, we go through a survey to start to kind of identify those kinds of things. But the self-empowerment piece, we all have the power and the ability to build ourselves up through our self-talk, the things we focus on. So if we could gain a sense of some little piece of control in our immediate world, I mean, it's perhaps even within our own home, our own immediate environment, maybe at the workplace, somewhere else, it can start to feel us like we have a little more sense of control. That's what I think is missing with a lot of the chaos, is being out of control. And then I talk about belief systems with people too, and we perceive our world through our belief systems and our expectations of how the world should be. And when that world doesn't fulfill those expectations as they used to, it could turn it upside down, and we really don't know how to function anymore. And sometimes we have to adjust our beliefs or change our perceptions in order to adapt to changing circumstances.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that
totally,
resonates as a start.
That is a story. I totally
Hello.
agree with what you said, Dana. Hello, how are you, Doctor?
I'm good. You guys are doing
what is your
good.
date of birth?
6/30/72.
6/30/72, June 30th of 1972, which means that you had a birthday less than a month ago.
I just turned
A
50.
big birthday.
A big 50. I don't look it.
A big birthday. So the reason why we ask birth dates, for those who may not know, Peter, in addition to being a psychic and an intuitive, is also an astrologer. And so astrology is dependent on date of birth. So that's why we ask. We're not asking to find out how old people are. That's not why we're doing it. We're asking because
I don't mind admitting it. I don't look it, but that's a good thing.
So Peter, what do we have for Donna this evening?
Well, what I want to say, first of all, Donna, I feel the guy just said to me, a change of residence. I'm saying a change of residence.
I'm trying to get out where I'm at. It's a temporary place.
It's a temporary place. Okay. Now, I don't remember from the last session, they were also talking about two guys. So have you come to a decision about the relationship area?
Well, I'm sticking with the guy from 10 years ago. I'm going to stay with him for now. The other one the other one's not even willing to make an effort back into my life. He don't care about me. He don't want to know nothing. He's just saying, sayonara, I don't want to know you. He's not even like making an effort to do anything. All he's doing is going behind my back and talking trash. So I don't know if I want that anymore.
Well, with the trash that he is talking, how are you handling it? I hope you're not giving.
No, I'm just basically trying to function and just say, you know what? You want to talk your garbage? That's fine by me because I'm the better one over you. And I know, but in the end, he's going to come back to me one day. Not now, but maybe one day he'll realize he made the biggest mistake of his life.
Yes. You have to believe that. I love that statement you just made. I want to find, do you truthfully believe that? Because that is an amazing, empowering statement that you just made.
Well, I believe the man upstairs put me together with him for a reason. And if he took us away together, there had to be a reason, but it wasn't my doing. So if I have to move along and go elsewhere, then I'll stick with where I'm at and try to make it work. And if it don't, then I'm on the market.
All right, but I do want to say this to you, and I'm a little older, and I've learned this in my life. All the people that come into our life are placed there divinely by God and the guardian angels. We learn lessons from everybody that comes into our lives. I've recognized that years ago. Every person I've met has been a player in my life. You are wonderful. You're a beautiful lady. You got charisma. Do not settle. You've got so much going for you. And I do want to say, as Dana was talking about before, we're combating a lot of visions in our lives. And if we can become more self-empowered and we can see really the greatness in ourselves, you have come leaps and bounds since I first started talking to you. You got a smile
when
on
you
your
told me
face.
a while ago, I took some advice and I went and did some financial stuff, and I'm able to, now I can keep my car, and I financed it and fixed the deal so I can keep that. So that was another thing that you helped me like get into the finance of making myself get out there. But job wise, do you see any more new things popping up anywhere?
I do see new things popping up for you. And actually, starting, I want you to know Jupiter, which is the larger planet of opportunities, going to be aspecting on in your natal chart. What does that mean?
Okay.
That means you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more energy. You're going to want to go forward. You're going to want to go after what you want. Yes, now is a great time for you to be finding another job. Absolutely. And if you keep this positive state of mind that you're talking about right now, you can take on the world.
Do you see my crafting business getting anywhere?
Yeah, you're the one. You're the one has to be proactive with that, and you're the one that has to push forward. I learned from experience. You can't sit back and wait. You've got to be proactive. Yes, I see positive things unfolding for you. Yes.
Do you see any events coming up where I'm going to make money to do it?
Well, I feel that you're going to have, they're talking to me about a business from your home. They keep on saying you're going to be starting something from the home. And they're
I've
telling
been
me
doing that. That's what I've been doing the past 2 years or more. I make homemade items, and I'm trying to sell them outside the house, but it's kind of hard to get into these events anywhere to make money.
All right. Can you do anything on Facebook or Twitter?
I've been doing that, but they turned me down and told me I'm not eligible to sell online. I said, I don't get it.
Okay. Well, they're showing me vending markets. They're showing me vending markets, and they're telling me that you will, it's going to build up for you. I see you being very happy. I see you being very happy, and I see the money coming in. So I'm not even worried about you. Yeah, and you know, I also if you listen to Donna was talking about, you know, everything that's going, Dana, I'm sorry, was talking about to empower yourself, everything that's going on at work these days. We have to take our power back. The only one something for us besides God is ourselves. We have free will, and use that free will in a positive way. And bless you.
Now, Dana, as somebody who works in the field of helping people to self-empower themselves, as you're listening to the conversation that Donna is having with Peter, are there any things that come to
do you see anything like that's going to change my next few months, year?
Yeah, well, not psychic, but just some a couple of things. Yes, while I was listening to you is I listened to you talk about this relationship, and I like to use the expression you teach people how to treat you, right? So if you're not empowered yourself, right, we don't want to let other people walk all over us. We want to have enough self-love, and that's sort of the idea I want to say is that the core foundation of our health and happiness is a powerful sense of self-love.
Mhm.
And if we don't love ourselves, and we may think that we do, but if we don't, we will allow abuse to come in. We will allow other things. We might even think of ourselves as a victim. And I've learned years
That's
ago
how
that
my last relationship was. I didn't find out till after the fact how he was. He was nice in the beginning, and then he turned into this Jekyll and Hyde character, and I'm like, who are you? I don't know you anymore. And he pretended like we didn't exist. We didn't have a relationship. We were nothing. And that's what he's telling people. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not telling anybody you don't exist. I may hate you now because of the way you are at the end, but I'm not pretending you were never in my life. That's wrong.
yep, the best attention you should give someone like that is no attention.
Yeah.
Right? Is no attention, and not to allow yourself to be triggered by things
Mm-hmm.
that people say,
Mhm.
because that just gets them. That's what they want, right? They want that
Oh,
reaction.
yeah,
that
he's
response.
doing that. He's manipulating other people to get to me, telling them stuff to tell me to get lost and leave them alone. I'm like, I'm not bothering you. But yet, the more you keep doing that, that must make me think, oh, you still want me somehow if you keep trying to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
say,
but
like Peter had said, right?
Go
You know,
ahead.
working on yourself, moving in a direction. You have some creative pursuits that you
Yeah,
enjoy.
I make homemade stuff, and I can't seem to get anywhere out in the real world in like shows or events to get money. You have to put out money to make money, and it's hard to do it.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
I
where
want to say something.
I teach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. I wanted to say eliminate I can't. I
Right.
never use the word I can't. Dana and I to convey to you, you've got to
Mhm.
feel important about yourself. You
Yep.
have to see your magnificence before you can attract somebody into your life that's going to
Mhm.
compliment you. So don't use the word canned. This is going to happen.
Mhm.
I see the potential for you. Sadly, Dana sees the potential for you. You're going to change your life based on your thinking and your actions. If you're
Right.
getting tired of living the life that you have right now, you're the one to be empowered to change everything and to go forward. Okay?
Right.
You're understanding that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And I
Donna, thank you very much for joining us on the show tonight.
You're welcome, guys. I'll keep you informed how things go.
Good luck
We
to you.
invite you to come back and provide us with an update.
Oh, I
on
will.
how
Hopefully,
things are.
it will be money in my pocket to tell you.
As you can tell, Donna has a hard time expressing herself.
Yes, very much so.
I'm being facetious.
I know. I
We
wanted
love
to
people
interject.
who can express themselves like Donna does.
I did want to interject something, if I may, Stefan. I am getting more and more calls, believe it or not, from therapists that are asking me, based on my background, my abilities, how they can help their clients system. And right now, if the was talking about it, you've been talking about it, we have to facilitate ourselves on thinking, on changing our thoughts, on changing our behavior in order to change our lives. We live in chaotic, disturbing, depressing times, and honestly, nobody's going to tell me how wonderful I am. I've got to believe in myself before I can convince other people, and that's why Dana's here, and that's why you're here, because to some degree, we have all seen that within ourselves, and that's why we're trying to help other people.
Well, there's a couple of things that come to mind, and I do have a question for Dana in
Yes.
a moment pertaining to some of the things that Donna said, but there's a couple of things that come to mind. And the first one is, if it is to be, it's up to me. If it is to be, it's up to me, which means that if I want to improve a certain area of my life, if there is a certain something in my life that I want to make better, all right, if I want it to be a certain way, it starts with me. If it is to be, it's up to me, which it starts with my thoughts and my words and my actions. And Peter, you addressed the using the phrase, I can't do it, or it's not meant to be for me. Well, if you don't think you can do it, it's not going to be done. If you think, I always have bad luck, if you're constantly verbalizing how bad things are, then you shouldn't really be surprised that things aren't going to work out. And this is the second thing I want to say. And that is, for things to change, we have to change. For things to get better, we have to get better. So if I want things to change in my life, if Donna wants things to change in her life, and I'm not singling her out, but she was very open about what she's been going through, and we do appreciate that. If things are going to change, I need to change. If things are going to get better, I need to get better first, which brings me to the question that I have for Dana. Dana, why do people tend to get into and stay in toxic relationships?
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's a big go down a rabbit hole with that one. Well, one reason people stay in toxic relationships is because they, at the underlying core, they feel they're not deserving of anything better. And so what this brings me to, what I wanted to bring up was in talking about what I do with hypnosis, getting into the subconscious mind, right? Our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. And our subconscious mind absorbs everything. That's where all the suggestions, where our belief systems reside. And so from childhood, from the age of 0 to 7, we live in the theta brainwave state, right? So that's a state of imagination, daydreaming. Kids are recorders. They're sponges. They record everything around them. They're observing. They're learning how to navigate their world, and they're learning to form beliefs. And that's where programs come from. And so our programs, basically a lot of the programs that we're running on and how we feel about ourselves have to do from those first 7 years, particularly, that have taught us how to feel about ourselves. So for instance, if we grew up in a household where our parents always supported us and just, told us how wonderful we were, and if we made a mistake, oh, it's okay, pick yourself up, get back up, right? We're going to form belief systems that it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake once in a while. We are worthy and deserving. Our worth isn't based on what we do or our behavior. We're human. Because we're human and because we exist, we deserve that love. You may have somebody else who grew up and was always told, you're a failure, stop that, you do everything wrong, we're disappointed in you, never gaining love, always seeking love and attention. And so we tend to gravitate towards relationships based on how we perceive that things should be for us. So if we're programmed to think that relationships never work out, we're going to find either subconscious reasons or ways to not allow ourselves to experience that. And it comes into also how we're vibrating, like the law of attraction, right? If we don't think we're worthy or deserving of something, we're going to sabotage ourselves subconsciously. And so what I do when I work with people, so for instance, like that, is sort of getting to the root core limiting beliefs. Right. So that's underlying, right? If you come to me and you say, I want to do hypnosis for healthy relationship, I want to attract a healthy relationship. First, we want to do, that's fine. We can implant new suggestions for finding that healthy relationship. And a technique I use too is visualizing the end result, what you want. I like to use either a screen of the mind or theater of the mind, where you can imagine yourself. You picture yourself up on a stage and having that relationship. What would it feel like? How would your life be different? What would you be doing differently, right? How would it change the nature of other relationships around you? And really getting into that picture. Because again, like I said, the subconscious mind doesn't understand the difference between imagination and reality. It's like a genie. It gives you what you want and what it thinks you want. And this is the key. What it thinks you want is what you focus on, not what you're telling it. I don't want an unhealthy relationship. Your subconscious mind hears unhealthy relationship. Let's give her more of what she wants. Or you have a program that says, I don't deserve a healthy relationship. And your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are fighting each other. I mean, this is why people may decide they want to consciously quit smoking, but they just can't do it. Willpower alone doesn't do it. is they have a subconscious program there's a perceived benefit to everything. And we also, our emotions are self-protective. They're self-protective for ourselves. So as far as toxic relationships, the first thing that you need to do, again, like I said before, is to develop a strong sense of self-love. Self-love is at the core of pretty much anything that you're going to do in life and be successful at, right? You don't see successful people walking around that hate themselves, right? I mean, when we want to look to people to inspire us, we look at people who feel good about themselves and they're confident. And that's developed through practice and repetition. And new habits take 21 to 30 days. So even though we don't necessarily have to go into hypnosis in order to make a behavior change, which is one way, and self-hypnosis, is repetition is the other way. So for instance, if you want to learn to play a new instrument, you practice, you discipline yourself to practice 15 minutes a day. And after a few weeks and a month, you'll find that all of a sudden, right, your subconscious mind now, your brain is rewiring, creating new neural networks for a new program that you don't have to think about anymore. We're running subconsciously 95% of the time. Our life is run by our subconscious program. We don't have to think about. It takes care of our physiology. And also our subconscious mind wants to protect us. It helps us to survive. And so when the conscious mind that's naturally suspicious and untrusting, when we want to make a change, it says, oh no, I can't make that change. I can't give up that habit because I'm gaining something from that. And I got to protect this program that I have. And so the idea is you want to go, oh, okay. So you've got a software program, right? The computer, the hard drive. You've got a software program that's running a bad program. We need to change that program so that you can get on with your life and be successful in what you want. So I know that gave you, a whole broad range of things, but there's so much to uncover and so many onion layers to peel when you get, to give a, just a single statement or an answer on why we attract toxic relationships. We're modeling after people that we've witnessed. And again, I think at the core of it is not feeling worthy enough to deserve anything better. Like I said to Donna, it's sort of, you teach people how to treat you. And if you don't feel good enough about yourself to be treated well, then you're going to be attracted to those types of relationships over and over. We know people that go, I get in the same kind of relationship every time. I don't understand it. No, we haven't programmed ourselves to expect anything more.
Dana, with all of the information that you're putting forth, and you're right, it can't be done in one simple answer or in one show even. I guess this means we're going to have you back.
Oh, no. Wonderful. Yeah, there's a lot to, there's a lot.
We have a message on chat from Heather Norris. Heather Norris says, great advice and insight, Dana. Great advice and insight, Dana, and that's from Heather Norris. Donna came back after her reading from Peter and her conversation with you to send a message in chat. And Donna says, love my reading, very helpful, and I will definitely try to make it all happen. And that's what we are asking people, is to try. And as the old saying goes, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. We appreciate positive people on this show, and we appreciate patient people on this show who are also very positive. And Sue has been waiting backstage for quite some time, very patiently. So Sue, say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for everything you're talking about tonight.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for the kind words. Now, Sue, I'm going to ask you a very important question. What is your date of birth?
March 15th, 1957.
March 15th, the Ides of March.
Yes.
3/15,
1957.
Which means you were the high school class of 1975. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. One other question before we begin with Peter. Where are you watching the show from this evening?
From Garfield, New Jersey.
Okay, from Garfield, New Jersey, the Garden State. Do you live
Hmm.
next door to Bruce Springsteen?
No, he lives down the shore, but he's a sweet guy,
And
and
he
he
speaks very
stops.
highly of you, Sue. He speaks very, very highly of you, and so
He
does
doesn't
Peter.
know me.
Hello, hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello, mi amigo, my friend Pete. How are you? I'm
Amigo,
good.
yes, I am wonderful. Now that you're on the, I'm wonderful. How can I help you tonight with our guides?
Um, Whatever you
How can
want
I
to
help you?
say. What you like you did
Well,
with Donna, you just started talking and you picked up on things.
well,
So I'll just let
the,
you do it.
all right. The guides are asking me. They just showed me something. To ask you, are you pursuing anything in the area with ministry, spirituality, or they're talking to me, are you doing any of this now? Because they're saying to me you would be a wonderful minister. They just said wonderful minister. They're saying that your attitude is changing. You're coming more into empowerment right now. And they're telling me changes because there's changes in the relationship area. So, are you pursuing your goals right now? Are you going in the direction that we had spoken about a couple of months ago? Are you doing
Yes, but
anything like
very
that?
slowly. Very
Oh, right.
slowly. I tried to sign
Yeah.
up for the ministry, but that didn't work out. And then my sister got really sick, so she's been leaning on me heavily. But I am very, in my mind, ready to restore my church relationships and go to a church of God that will fulfill my spirit. And
Yes.
I got a marriage proposal on Facebook, and I
You
have
received
a lot of people
a
asking.
marriage proposal?
Hmm. All because I
You
like Bruno
did.
Mars. I like
Oh,
Bruno
how many?
Mars.
Yes.
I like Bruno
How many?
Mars, and I'm on his website, and I'm the number one fan. And somebody there pretending to be Bruno Mars asked me to marry him. And then a
Oh,
few people are asking me to. They saying they're reading my Facebook profiles and they just like what they see and they feel attractive and they just want to be my friend. So I don't know where all
okay.
that's coming from.
Well, you know what I think the guys are saying to me, Yuji, my friend, is changing. You're becoming more positive. You're recognizing more about the magnificence of how you were created in God's image and likeness. That's where this is coming from. And I also want to say to you, I feel your energy has shifted for the positive. I am seeing an angel right behind you. I am noticing an angel right behind you that is actually watching over you and protecting you. So there's been a wonderful change for you. You're more up, you're more good, you're stronger now. And I really feel you're getting ready to welcome that special person in your life that deserves you. Because not every man deserves you. And I know that after spending time with you, you are very blessed, and God and your guardian angels, an incredible man to come into your life. So that's the directing. And I see the change in you. Do you feel the
A
do you feel
little,
that
but
change?
the man that asked me to marry him said it was because of my belief in God. Yeah. So there
Because of
is a
your belief.
change that I'm starting to, yeah. So I'm starting to see other people seeing that within me.
I saw that in you when I first talked to you. I saw that and felt that within your energy, your aura field. You definitely are connected to a higher power. You are definitely, you're coming into your own. You are, the guy just said to me, your thinking is changing, your verbiage is changing, as Stefan was saying about this earlier. And you, I can tell by that look, that beautiful look on your face, you're really starting to appreciate what I see in you and other people see in you. So kudos to you, sweetie. You're
Thank you.
finally, you're there. You're
And when
there.
I first started talking to you, I didn't believe it in myself at all. And
Well,
thank you for
Gio,
saying it.
well,
Yes, and I believe
you've
what
done,
Dana said about loving yourself, and I believe what
yes,
the other gentleman, forgot his first name, said about
Stefan.
you know, Stefan. He's so cute, and learning to, do the positive work. Yes, all of that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's why we all have come on to try to reach out and to help everybody. But you have made so many strides that I'm blown away by the change in you. And give yourself a pat on the back because you're incredible.
Sue, I would like to also offer this to you and to everyone who is watching. Instead of being fearful, be more faithful. Instead of magnifying your problems, magnify God's ability to do the impossible.
Well, you and I have something in strongly in common, and that's the way we're brought up. I was brought
Really?
up by an alcoholic mother and an invisible father. And when you're speaking about your respite for an hour, I totally can relate. And then when you go to church and then you come back and then the chaos is still there, I completely relate.
Well, the things that I'm sharing on this show, Sue, are things that have taken me many years to process mentally and emotionally and behaviorally. And so when I'm speaking about the things that happened when I was growing up, these are things that are still with me. They're still part of my soul, but I have processed everything in a different way. And so I have a great amount of respect for people who can come on this show and in front of the entire world can tell people what they have experienced. And so I admire the things that you have shared with us. And I know that Dana has a perspective on some of the things that you have spoken about. Dana?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dana.
Hi, Sue. How are you? Something came across my mind. We were talking about faith in God. I was thinking the other day about faith, and faith in and of itself, by definition, perhaps by some's definition, would be faith in God or faith that God wants the best of us or whatnot. But I got contemplating active faith as being something a little bit different than just having faith. Active faith is acting and walking as if God is working on your behalf and that you trust that. And so you move forward trusting, and so to speak, God's going to catch you. God's got your back, right? So it's moving forward with action with the faith that you have, because just having faith in and of itself isn't going to change your life, right? So
No,
that
faith
may be
without work.
something.
Faith
Exactly.
without works is dead.
Right? You got it. You got it. That was perfect. And the world reflects back to you what you put out with your thought and energy. So when you start seeing the world is changing around you, or people are responding to you differently or acting to you differently, that's all because you're changing, and what you're putting out or vibrating out into the world, and whatever it is, you may be vibrating that you're more worthy. And so the world's going to treat you as you're more worthy. It's like attracts like. Another quote I like is from Henry Ford: "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And envisioning the end result of whatever it is you desire ahead of the event, right? So God wants you to have everything that you want, every desire. We didn't come here to be miserable, be in pain, and to suffer for all of our lives, right? But we did come here so that we can learn through our adversities, right? Our adversities give us strength. Our adversities help us to grow. If everything was perfect for us, I don't know, I think life might actually be boring. If everything worked out every single day and you could predict that no challenges, no problems to overcome. So if we could sort of reframe our situations, and some of them may have been severely traumatic, but if we can start reframing and try to look at the glass as half full, make lemonade out of lemons, sort of related, to say, what nugget or what gift can we pull out of this situation and use it to better ourselves? What can we learn from this? And I can share, I've had some past experiences that have not been very fun for me, but as I've moved forward and acknowledged them, allowed those emotions to come forward and started to take action, right? Active faith, moving forward on the positive changes. And the more I move in that direction, the more whatever I focus on expands, right? What you focus on is what becomes your reality. So don't focus on the negative things, and watch your self-talk. I like to teach people to reframing your thoughts. Catch yourself during the day if you have any negative thoughts that come up. I like to use the big circle with the X across. Say cancel and finish it with something positive. I mean, a simple example might be, oh my gosh, I hit every red light. I'm always late for work. That's cancel. You could cancel that and say, all right, well, if I hit the red light, I have a moment to take 3 deep breaths and calm myself before. You can reframe any experience that you have. But for you, Sue, those would be the thoughts that I would leave with you to focus on, and envision yourself. You can take a few minutes. The best time to do this would be very early in the morning, when you're just waking out of the sleep state, when you're not fully conscious, where your analytical mind isn't going yet, or just drifting off to sleep, and just imagining and envisioning. And like I described earlier in the show, using your imagination and emotion to feel the end result ahead of it, right? You will be attracted to that end result. And if you can't imagine what it would feel like, what that happy state would feel like, attaining your desire, go back to a time in your life where you felt that similar emotion, right? For some of it, it could be the birth of a child, or something you did for somebody that really helped someone, that made you feel really good about yourself. Anything that you can re-elicit a positive emotional state will work. And you can just transfer that into there. What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What sights? What's happening in your life? Now that you're walking that walk and that path, what's opening up for you? I mean, this is all really important stuff to do. And again, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It's going to absorb whatever you put into it. That's the key thing I like to tell people is, you say you can't, I won't. And also not using those negatives. If you say, I want something, I want this, your subconscious says, okay, they want it. We'll just keep them wanting it and wanting it and wanting it and wanting it. No, I have it. And the other last thing I'll say is, because we're talking about God right now, is I am. I am are 2 of the most powerful words that you can use. God says, I am. We say, as children of God, we say, I am, because like the ocean, you could take all the drops out of the ocean, but everything, the consistency, the elements in that drop of water comes from its source. So God is within each and every one of us. We imagine we're separate beings, but we have the God source energy and all of God's power to create and to manifest what we want in our life. And if we can focus on that, know that, and believe that, right, then it will be for us.
Peter, I am compelled to ask you this question, and I don't know where it's coming from. I'm just going with it. And as we've said before, this is live TV, so you never know what's going to happen. What are you seeing in the next 30, 60, 90 days for Sue?
Well, what I want to say about Sue is, first of all, Sue, it's taking you a lot. You have come so far. Know how I know? You said to me at one point when I invited you to come on the podcast, you said you weren't ready for it. Look what you're doing tonight. I see you connecting more with God. I see you connecting more within your ability to be more positive. And I see people around you. I see you socializing. I'm also being told, protect yourself. They're saying protect yourself, give to yourself. Don't get involved in all the drama that's going on with your family. You understanding that. Right now, you've got to honor yourself and you've got to take care of yourself. Family, with your sister, with everybody, you've done a lot for your family. And I want to tell you, feel physical. Your energy is shifted. You're going to start attracting positive people. You're going to start attracting more positive unfoldments for you. You're there, honey. You are there. And you give yourself so much credit because you're the one in your thinking and your thoughts and your behavior that has turned your life around. So I am so proud of you, really. I'm very, very proud of you. And I see in the next 30 to 60 to 90 days, you're going to be radically changing your life.
Thank you.
Sue,
okay.
Thank you for coming on to the show tonight. We appreciate you, and we invite you to come back at some point
Thank
to
you for
provide us
having
with
me.
an update on how well things are going and how things have transpired. Would you do that for us, please?
Yes,
You made
Stefan,
my
I will.
night.
And in the meantime, tell Bruce Springsteen we said hi. And tell Bruce he could come on this show at any time and we'll let him sing a song.
I
Okay?
don't know Bruce, but he does hang out in New Jersey on his motorcycle. He
Very
helps
good.
people.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sue. It's
Thank
nice to
you,
speak to
Pete.
you. We welcome Crystal to the show. Crystal, good evening to you. Thank you for waiting so patiently backstage. Crystal, what is your date of birth, please?
12/25/1979.
12/25/1979. 12/25/1979. Do you know what one of the number one songs from 1979 was?
Not a clue.
Have you ever heard of the band called The Knack? Knack. Okay. The Knack was a band that had a number one song in the year that you were born. And I'm going to let Peter get into your intuitive reading now, but when we get to the other side of your reading, I'm going to tell you what that number one song was. It was a massive hit, massive hit. And they were kind of sort of a one-hit wonder. Back in 1979, they were big. So, Peter, on that note,
The turn of the
what do we have
decade.
for Crystal?
Well, Crystal, your guides are saying to me tonight, they're waiting. You know what they just said? Crystal's going to give you a reading. So I'm waiting for my reading from you. How's that?
I have no idea what they're talking about.
How are you, my friend? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
How are you doing?
Just struggle
just
busting
okay.
a little.
Are you what's happening?
I said I'm struggle busting a little. Struggle busing.
All right. How so? How so? How so? How can we help you?
Just trying to make some decisions. Big decisions. Not really sure what to do.
All right. Decisions as far as work is concerned. Is that what you're looking at?
No, not necessarily. work, more like relationships.
Relationships.
Hmm.
Okay.
Trying
Do
to
you
decide
have?
like
Yeah, go
mhm.
ahead.
Just trying to decide like what needs to stay and what needs to go.
All right. Can you give me
And
the
letting
first
go.
name and the date of birth of the person?
I don't know the actual date of birth.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, the actual date of birth. So how
I know the
long have
actual
you
date of
known
birth for
them?
the other, huh?
All right. Give me the actual date of for the other one.
Um 6/24/76.
6/24. You said of 76.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that person's first name?
Neil.
Neil. Okay. Now, what I want to say to you is this. Normally, when
Mm-hmm.
we don't remember somebody's date of birth, it's normally because we're not really that connected to them. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first statement I want to make to you. The next
I
thing
kind of
I
had that
want to
feeling.
say, you have that feeling? All
Yeah.
right. Now, with Neil, I want to say this to you. Neil is very intuitive, but he fights it.
Mm-hmm.
He fights it. He's highly, highly intuitive. Now, you are going to connect to him on a very high spiritual level. I also want to ask you, is this Neil that you have a connection with? Is he very magnetic? Is there a lot of energy there?
Between us?
Well, let me tell you something. On one hand, I feel he keeps to himself. I feel he keeps to himself and he's kind of quiet. But once he gets to know somebody and if he really likes them, then he opens up. All the nooses and all the shackles and everything come off. He doesn't trust too many people. He does not trust too many people, and you have to pass his test in order for him to take you into his world. You're understanding that. So for you, I feel a connection here and I feel an attraction here. What I also want to say is there's a strong connection with the family. They keep on showing me the family here. They're saying
Mm-hmm.
strong connection. They're also talking to me. This guy wants to, he's very much into Earth. Do you understand when I say Earth? They're saying something about a connection with this planet. Now, they're also talking to me. They keep on, is he an outdoorsy type of person?
A little.
So, all right. Now, does he want to work for himself? This guy has a very strong will. But I want to say to you, I'm being shown money around him. I'm being
Mm-hmm.
shown money and property. I feel he may even go into something that has to deal with property. They keep on saying to me, making money and security. Do you know now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He definitely is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Is
Not
he
anything
into
with that, but
property?
yeah, no. Mm-mm. He does.
He's not into property yet? What?
He's
Go
not into
ahead.
property, but he definitely does make money. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. They're showing me him buying property. Showing me him buying property. Now, what I'm also
He
going to
did.
say to you, this guy is going to want a lot of money. This guy, there's money here, and he's going to want to help his family out. He wants to help other people out. Are
Mm-hmm.
all
You're
right?
right on. Right on.
All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want things for himself. He wants to do for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Now, how do you connect with him and how long have you known him?
A long time.
A long time? All
Mm-hmm.
right. Are
Mm-hmm. Like
you
13
afraid?
years.
Are you afraid of reaching out because I feel no, all right. He's a good friend though, correct? He's not a
more than
friend?
that. Yeah. Way more than that. No, we've been married for 13 years.
Oh, this is your okay. All right. Oh, so you've been married for what is the issue with him then? What is the
Just that
issue?
things are changing so much for us. And,
Oh, all right. Are you worried about you staying together with him?
a little.
All right. I don't know why. I'm feeling he is kind of going in another direction. And I feel that you're finding yourself. I feel that you're coming into your own, and he's not totally understanding where you're coming from. Is that making sense to you? I feel as if you're branching out into your newfound world, but he's still going in the other direction, and you're if you can bridge those two worlds together. Are you understanding that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they also are showing me. I want to ask you also. I feel that going on behind the scenes. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's something with him that's changing. That maybe you're not. I feel emotionally he's changing, and I feel that he is not reaching out to you as much anymore. There's been a change with your connection with him. You're understanding that? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. And he's the guys are saying almost like he's a stranger. They're saying
Sometimes.
you don't recognize sometimes. All right. So what do you want to do about this? What do you want to do about this?
That's where I'm at right now. I don't know.
Well, do you want me to be perfectly? I'll be blunt. The guys are telling me you both have different karmic missions. You both have different karmic missions, and I am also feeling here. Have you noticed an energy shift for him? Have you noticed any shift with attitude and how he feels?
For both of us, yeah. Yeah.
Both, all right. The guy was showing me this. And that normally means, are you taking time out? Because I have a question for you. At the beginning of this, you asked about the other guy who you didn't know his date of birth. Were you asking about that other guy to see if you were compatible with him? Because is that
No,
why you
I
asked?
know I'm not. Yeah. I know I'm not.
All right.
I just don't know
You
what
know
to
you're
do.
not.
Yeah.
All right. That question I can't answer for you. The one thing I am going to say is I feel that you're going to become frustrated because you're going to be growing in a spiritual light and you're coming into your own. The other question they're asking me, has he ever been controlling with you? Is he controlling with you?
I don't know if you would
Okay.
call it that. Maybe. I don't know.
All right. In other words, do you have freedom in the marriage to do what you want to do without asking permission? Okay.
For
Okay.
the
They
most part.
they're for the most part. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What brought you two together? What attracted the two of you? Why did you two come together? There had to be a lot here. Do you know what attracted you to each other?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Who,
Maybe
me?
Dana would like to. What's that?
Oh, I
Dana,
didn't
do you
say
have any words?
Well, I think that I was thinking even before you said it, Peter, in your reading with her, is I was contemplating that idea that you might be growing in a different direction, a spiritual direction. And what happens sometimes is with, first of all, in a relationship, if you're looking at the long-term possible success, you're dating somebody and you're in the honeymoon and you're feeling really good about it. And the last thing you want to do initially is talk about, well, what is the trajectory of our life goals, or how do we want to work our finances, right? Are we going to, does one person like to spend a lot of money? Is the other one thrifty? We don't want to kind of, I don't know, we think it's not right to talk about these boring details.
We are
But
very yin and yang, and I think that's what's worked for us for so long. Very, very yin and yang.
well, yeah, go ahead.
Like the opposites work, attract kind of thing. I think that's probably what really brought us together. And that's probably
Right.
what was really attractive, is that we were so different, but yet we could get along so well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would say that sometimes when you change in a relationship and moving in a different direction, and your partner's not on board with that change, that partner could develop a growing sense of resentment towards you, or feel threatened by that. And so when he's sort of pulling away a little bit more as you're moving and growing, that could be sort of, self-protective for him, as he's feeling a bit threatened and doesn't like the change. He can't control, well, that word control comes in. He can't control what's going on with you. He may not like it, and it may not be working for him. But also, back to what Peter was saying too, the relationship may have filled its karmic purpose, right? Nothing says that. You might believe that if you grew up Catholic or religious or whatnot, and think, well, you marry one person once and you're supposed to stay with them the rest of your life. But we don't take into acknowledgement, if you believe in reincarnation, you believe we come with a soul's plan and a blueprint. We set up our life to meet certain players, right? Born in a certain part of the world. We have certain types of parents with certain types of characteristics to help us shape and grow and learn. And I talked about before, the adversities we go through, right, are sometimes those are sort of triggers in the direction that we need to grow. I also feel at this point in my life that karmically too, I think sometimes your agreement with a person comes to an end, and it's fulfilled the purpose that it was meant to fill for that period of time. And at the time perhaps that you're at now is when you're feeling the inspiration to move in a different direction, and he's feeling the lack of inspiration to follow you along that path. Because what's very important in a relationship is that your trajectory, that your long-term goals, for instance, have a similar trajectory. It doesn't mean you have the same goals, but that, self-growth, for instance, right? If you're a type of person that's always working on yourself, that wants to grow and in ways, and you're with somebody who's just, I'm just going to stay with the status quo. I don't really care about that. I'm just going to go to work, come home, plop on the couch at night, have a couple beers, whatever it is. It's going to be a very lonely world for you. If you continue on that path and he's unwilling to go with you. So what I would do is, first, I think communication is the most
definitely.
important.
Oh, no. We definitely.
Yeah.
No. It's just, it's so hard to, I don't want to do anything like whatever, but I just,
Well, it makes it hard to consider, and I'm not making the assumption you've considered it, but if it was a consideration of leaving, it's very hard in our world, our society, to leave somebody who's not abusing you, right? That you've made a commitment to, that generally treats you respectfully, that allows you freedom, that doesn't suppress your wishes and desires, but you're just not compatible anymore. It's a very difficult thing to give up a relationship, especially if you have children with this person, have developed relationships, have certain friends, places you go to, familiar environments. And it takes a lot of courage for someone to actually say, this relationship is stagnating my soul's growth, or personal growth, whether or not you believe in, whatever you believe in. But if you want to grow in a certain direction, you feel stagnated, it's very hard. So it's a big, I can appreciate the potential conundrum that you might be in. And, my advice would be some deep consideration, follow your heart. But also I would have a conversation with your spouse and really explain to him what the needs are and see if he's willing to support that. I mean, you may be surprised. He may say, oh, this is really important to you. I want to jump on board. And
Yeah.
we can do this together as a team. It's as a teamwork. So I would explore that before making any, final sort of decisions about. Include him in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a tough one.
No, it is. It's not even like I ever thought that would be the case that we,
No, you never think that.
Mm-mm.
When you get married, you never think it's going to end or that you'll even think about things changing or whatnot. But that's all we do is we're always, the only thing constant's change, right? We've heard that over and over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry I can't give you any sort of definitive
Crystal,
advice.
thank you for joining us on the show tonight. We've had such a serious discussion, but I wanted to end things on a lighter note and tell you that the name of the song was My Sharona.
My Sharona, really?
My Sharona by The Knack was a #1 song in
Oh
1979,
my God, that was a
the
reality
year that you were
play.
born.
I
So,
loved that song.
After this show, I want you to go on YouTube or Spotify.
Oh, I know the song. I know it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just kind of relive 1979, and there you go.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for turning this into a little bit of laughter. Laughter is the best medicine, and we thank you for joining us. This has been a very enlightening program, and one of the people who has made it so is Dana. Dana, you are just so delightful, and you are so well spoken, and you have greatly honored and blessed Peter with your time and your talent this evening.
I appreciate that, Stefan. I've enjoyed it immensely. It's been wonderful, and I appreciate you having me on.
Peter, any words as we wrap up this latest edition of Find My Divine?
Yeah, the words that I want to say is I'm very grateful to everybody for coming on tonight. And I also want to say that I have realized, even in my personal life, change is difficult because it means that we can't stay in the same frame of mind and the same life that we're in right now. So for people coming on, change is slow. It's gradual, and we have to focus on a day-to-day changes with our thinking, with our speech. I'm very grateful for everybody who joined us tonight, and I'm very, very glad and appreciative that Dana, you have acquiesced to come on tonight. You were a remarkable guest. Your words, your thoughts, I'm just very happy that you came on, and I would love to have you on again as a guest.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm glad I ran into you synchronistically.
Yes.
Now,
absolutely.
do the two of you, would you want to say where you met?
Is that okay, Peter?
Where did the two of you meet? Did you want to share that with the group?
You want to go? Well, we met at the Ruby Tree Metaphysical Shop in Woodbury, Connecticut, at a I believe vendor fair. So there's a fair, and there are readers there, tarot card readings, psychic readings.
What brought you there on the day that Peter was there?
Once a month, the Ruby Tree holds these vendor fairs, and I've been participating in them. The owner of the store is a friend of mine I went to high school with, and I do rent some space from her a couple of days a week to see hypnosis clients. And so I participate in the fairs, and I sit at a table and I offer free 15-minute sort of mini hypnosis relaxation sessions if people have questions. I try to sell my artwork. And so Peter and I happened to run into each other there.
Connect. It was a divine appointment. It was a divine appointment.
Yes.
It must have been, because I had in my, I've been using my own, well, what I practice, I try to practice what I preach. So I envision in my mind the things that I want to attract. And, I went home that day saying, oh my gosh, this just happened. So yes, so having another speaking event, being live, which is new for me. It gave me another opportunity to come on and share, meet new people,
You're a
and
natural.
gain a better comfort
Yeah,
level.
you're a natural. You're very well spoken.
I appreciate that. Thank
So
you.
thank you again for sharing your time and your talent with us. And Peter, as I have said very, very often, it is a blessing to be able to do this program with you. Thank you very much, Peter. And we thank everyone for watching and everyone who participated. You know, to get on this show and to bare your soul and to talk about things that are happening in your life and reveal family secrets in front of strangers and people who are watching from all over the world is not an easy thing to do. It takes courage and an overcoming of fear. So we thank everyone who has done that tonight. Thank you for watching Find My Divine. Until next time, we wish you less stressing and more blessing.